Hi, my name is Therese and I'm from Comics Beat. How are you?
I'm good. Hi, nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you too. So in between season one and season two, obviously the pandemic happened. I wanted to know, how did COVID affect the story this season and everyone, going online during lockdown?
Well, what's the crazy part is that the story is kind of following the premise, and it's about this love story between someone in the real world who works for like a multiverse company, and then someone else who lives entirely in the multiverse because they died and were uploaded. And the those things all predated the word multiverse, as far as I'm concerned. But so it feels like life is catching up to the show. But that was kind of the purpose. The purpose of the show was to go only a little bit into the future, and we've done a lot of research on products that are about to come out or things like that. So for instance, in the pilot, even though it was shot years before the pandemic, there were characters wearing masks on the subway, and that was sort of based on research about air quality and what we anticipated
Right.
climate change was going to do in the future. And so we did our homework, and now a lot of it's stuff that's actually happening in the world. The cast constantly text me things. We had a joke about food printers, that people in their kitchen, instead of a stove, they're going to have a food printer, and there's cartridges that say fat and carbohydrate and protein, and then they just download a recipe and press a button and it prints the food for them. And that was a joke, and I felt like that wasn't going to happen. But then, apparently there are people printing steak now out of animal vegetable proteins and stuff like that, and so it's all coming to pass.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. So with so many stories about like technology and the fear of technology coming out, how do you focus on ways to make your story stand out? Or what is your primary focus when you're looking at, writing the season?
I think that the primary focus of the show is that it's a romance, but it's a lot of genres packed into one show. So we're doing, and I did sell it that way. I mean, I told the studio it's a romantic comedy, satire, science fiction, philosophy, mystery, and so there's like a lot of aspects to it, and I think that makes it stand out a bit, and it also lets you get into more nuance into what the message is. So, for instance, we're not saying that technology is all bad, and we're not saying technology is all good, and we're not saying that the future is going to be this horrible dystopia or it's going to be this perfect utopia. We're sort of saying that our observation of how the past worked is that there's a lot of promise, but a lot of times it falls on its face in a comical way, or it is misinterpreted in a dark way. And that seems to me to be a more accurate way to look at technology. So it's often has very powerful consequences, and it's promoted in terms of what the benefits are, and you do get some of those benefits, but there's also often a lot of unintended consequences and stuff that you didn't realize was going to happen. So for instance, people will say, "Oh, isn't it great to go on Facebook and you can keep up with all the people from your high school class?" And then, a few years later, you're like, "Oh, and also, by the way, it meant that we were destroying journalism and democracy." So, you know what I mean? There's a lot of unintended consequences.
Right. And I mean, I love all the characters that have their own sort of specific storylines, and you kind of like dig deeper in the second season, which I really enjoyed. Is there a character on the show that you would like to explore more if you had more time, or somebody that maybe hasn't had a lot of story yet that you think would be interesting to talk about?
I wouldn't mind seeing the prequel show of how David Choate got to be the that evil billionaire. I don't know, but kind of like 1883. You could do a show from his perspective. I don't know. I think that there's a lot of great characters, and I hope to have enough seasons to be able to explore all of them more. A lot of the fun of it is just coming up with different storylines, and then kind of producing a lot more than we can show, and then just cramming it all into a 30-minute bag and getting it over, that's the way I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I really enjoyed the second season. I hope it comes back. Literally, I was texting another journalist and we were talking about how we need more of this show immediately. So I hope we get more of it. And congratulations on season 2. In the meantime, thank you for speaking with me.
Talk to your journalist friend and text Prime Video.
She was talking with you earlier. She just
sounds good.
Thank you.